Nowadays, it seems like there's a new superhero movie coming out every week, and while some of them are pretty good, many of them are mediocre at best or just straight up poop emoji.
Look at this dude. Wait till you see the.
I was beginning to lose hope for the superhero genre. I thought I would never again experience anything like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films, or anything like Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight, which was and still is a masterpiece of modern cinema. That's why going into Avengers Infinity War, my expectations weren't that high. However, after watching it, I left the theater saying to myself, hey, that was actually pretty good. So it got me thinking, what is it that makes a superhero movie good? Hello everybody, you're watching Tyler Soap, and this is 6 things that make a good superhero movie. First off, the heroes can't be perfect. Superheroes are going to have their superpowers, they're going to be incredibly attractive and fit, they're going to be Bill Gates / Mark Zuckerberg levels of wealthy and intelligent, and sometimes they will be literal gods. But regardless of those things, they need flaws that everyday people have, so there is no disconnect with the audience. It's nearly impossible to root for a near perfect hero, but give that same hero some real human imperfections, and the audience will see themselves in the hero, and therefore actually care about that hero. Although Tony Stark is the guy in the flashy Iron Man suit, he's egotistical, he struggles to express his emotions, and he always pretends to look strong even when he feels hopeless. Although Peter Parker is your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, he's bullied, he's in love with a girl from school, and he must cope with losing his only father figure. And then there's Wade Wilson, who as himself and Deadpool is very much rough around the edges. Superheroes can't be perfect, or else, who cares? Second, the villain must be memorable. In a superhero movie, it is so essential that the villain isn't evil for the sake of being evil. The villain needs depth to their character and must be consistent in their own moral code and beliefs. There's a scene I really enjoy in The Dark Knight where the Joker burns a mountain of cash. Most people would keep that money, but the Joker couldn't care less because his goal is not to get rich, it's to create chaos in Gotham City. Also, one thing that really hit me while watching Infinity War was that Thanos had many moments where he could have easily killed some of the Avengers, but he chooses not to. Anytime you do see him murder, it is done for the sole purpose of getting him closer to his goal. A villain 100% invested in their views and set in their ways allows the audience to objectively agree or disagree with them. Like, don't worry Anakin, I would have turned to the dark side too if it meant I could have Natalie Portman forever.
She's a bitch!
Third, mindless and impersonal action scenes should be kept to a minimum. What I consider a mindless action scene is an action sequence that doesn't move the plot forward, but instead is only there because nothing exciting has happened in a while. A mind-numbing trend I keep seeing in recent superhero movies is that the fights have no real consequence. Take that big fight scene in Captain America Civil War, for example. The Avengers are divided and we get to see all our favorite heroes in action. The only problem is that that's the only thing making the scene remotely interesting. If you look at a professional boxing match, there is a real consequence. Both of the fighters risk being seriously hurt and there is always a clear winner by the end of the fight. Those consequences is what keeps spectators on the edge of their seat and invested. During the airport scene in Civil War, we know there's no way any of our dear beloved heroes are getting hurt or dying because they have that plot armor and that we need to pump out as many sequels as we can with these characters' armor, and because of this there is never physically a clear winner to the fight. I'm never going, oh my god no, I'm so concerned for Peter Parker fighting these other grown men and women with superpowers. He's just a boy. He's gonna get hurt. What if we lose him? What I'm trying to say is, yeah, the scene looks cool, I guess, but you need more than that. You need consequence, or at the very least, risk of consequence to really pull us in. Moving on from there, impersonal action scenes are a whole different bag. Probably the best way to explain what I mean by impersonal is just to show you. Too often in superhero films, we see huge cities under attack, and when something like this happens, we can assume that many regular people have died, but it's difficult to care when the people dying are just a faceless crowd. If an action scene actually focuses on the ones that are in danger, then it will have an emotional impact. I like to highlight Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films because they do action the way it should be done. In some scenes, Spider-Man gets beat to a pulp, we get to see him in moments of weakness, and there is always a clear winner to every confrontation. Also, a good majority of the action scenes in the entire trilogy involve characters we know and love that are in danger. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is faced with tasks that are on a smaller scale than, let's say, the Avengers trying to protect New York City from an alien attack, yet the dangers he faces still feel more important because they are personal. Even when Spider-Man must save a crowd of people, Raimi takes the time to give them a face. Fourth, a consistent tonality in comedy. Unless they're seeing Deadpool, moviegoers aren't really buying tickets to these superhero movies to see a straight-up comedy film. That's why any comedy that isn't character-based will just feel forced. Take a look at this awful joke from the Black Panther.
Question is, what are those?
The cringe. It consumes me. The only people that were laughing in the theater during that joke were 11-year-olds who were like, that's a meme. Now take a look at this scene.
I am a god, you dull creature, and I will not be bullied by that.
This works a lot better because it's character-based. When I saw The Avengers in theaters, I recall people actually laughing at that. Character-based comedy feels more organic, and it's going to land for audiences a lot more often. Furthermore, comedy has always been about timing. It's very important that any sort of humor be executed during appropriate situations. Although many superhero films do go the lighthearted route, which is completely fine, they should avoid interrupting what is supposed to be a heartfelt moment with a poorly timed joke. It takes away from the emotions the audience is supposed to be feeling. Fifth, color grading. Color grading is the process of altering and enhancing the color of a motion picture, video image, or still image electronically, photochemically, or digitally.
Boring!
During post-production of a film, a colorist goes through the film shot by shot, usually under the direct supervision of the producer, director, and director of photography to adjust the color balance of each shot. This is done for a number of reasons, like so different scenes shot in different light conditions match better together, or to give an overall vibe throughout the movie. Think The Matrix's muddy fluorescent green look that enhances its cyberpunk aesthetic. Now, what's important for superhero movies color grading wise is that the colors are vibrant because they are based off comic books, which usually contain bright and striking images. What makes the images so eye-popping in comic books is the contrast between the black ink with all the other colors. DC's color grading looks great, and the first few Marvel films that were shot on film look pretty good as well. But when Marvel switched over to digital, their movies became dull and gray looking. I mean, have a look at Grey Panther here in Captain America Civil War, or even take a quick gander at the sky in any digitally shot Marvel film. It's not even blue! I feel like Marvel failed to realize that once you go black, you never go back, because the first Iron Man movie shot on film has visible pure black value, so the other colors pop. But any film they shot later on digital lacks pure black value, so the colors don't pop. However, we can't blame the switch from film to digital for the lack of black value and vibrant colors, because so many movies shot digitally don't have this problem at all. I think maybe the color grading team down at Marvel just really likes the color gray. With our current technology and the millions of dollars at the disposal of these major film companies, there's no reason why comic book movies can't look vibrant like the comics they're based on, regardless of how they're shot. Don't get me wrong, I love Marvel films just as much as this guy probably does. And just because it doesn't feel like I'm overdosing on acid while I watch their digitally shot movies doesn't mean they're not good. In fact, DC has their color grading figured out, and except for a few exceptions, many of their movies are bad, so color grading for sure won't make or break your superhero movie. I simply believe that Marvel films could be better visually, and that would make them even gooder. And yes, I know that's not a word, moving on. My sixth and final point is straight from the formula and genre. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand this graph. There are a lot of superhero movies coming out right now. This leads many people to believe that the genre is currently at its peak, while others believe we are experiencing or will very soon experience superhero fatigue. But how can studios avoid mass audiences getting tired of superhero movies? The answer is simple: mix it up. I'm not saying we need to reinvent the wheel or fix something that isn't broken. I'm saying filmmakers shouldn't confine themselves to the superhero genre formula, because the structure and tropes have already been done before time and time again.
Woo! Superhero landing! Yeah, that's really hard on your knees. Totally impractical, they all do it.
Deadpool is arguably more of a raunchy R-rated comedy than an action film, all while being a good superhero movie at the same time. I believe the reason Deadpool was able to top countless box office records in 2016 was because it broke the mold. It's when the source material is approached differently and other creative avenues are explored that the genre can feel fresh again. So there you have it. Do you agree with my list? Or if you think I missed anything, let me know in the comments. I'm really happy to announce that the channel has recently surpassed 500 subscribers. Let's keep it going and get to 1,000, so hit that subscribe button on the screen right now for more movie related content. Thanks guys.